following is a production of Shark Flight Media.
From mechs to mages or agents to argonauts, this is the world of Chris Kennedy Publishing. This is the CKP Future Books Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to the December podcast. This is the end of the year. Future Books has been honored to have you guys listening for the past year, and we really appreciate all the support and feedback that we get. Please, on your podcast, especially Apple Podcasts, go in and review the podcast if you like it, and give us some stars. That's the best way to let people know that the podcast is out there. This is our annual end of the year podcast, and we're going to be talking with our publisher and editor, Chris Kennedy, and he's taken time out of his busy schedule to talk to us this month, and we are honored to have him. Welcome, Chris.
Hey, Randy. Great being with you. Certainly, I echo everything that you just said there. Another great year doing this with you, and hopefully folks listening will go and give us a review and throw some stars up there. Certainly like to get this out to even more people next year.
Well, it's been an honor, and it's been a fun ride. CKP has grown so much in the amount of time that we've been doing this. We have some wonderful series out there, both fantasy and science fiction. I've been able to meet and talk to a number of our authors, which has benefited me, and I've had a great time doing it, and hopefully they've reaped some benefits by increasing sales, by letting people know what their series are. And once again, like every other month, we're going to start off talking about the releases in December. The first one will be on December 6th, and this is the book The Darkness by William Frisbee Jr., one of our favorite authors. He wrote the Last Marine series, which was very popular, and now he's on book 2 of this trilogy called the Conglomerate trilogy. I think this is selling very well. Tell us a little bit about book 2.
Sure, absolutely. If you liked The Last Marines, then you're going to like the Conglomerate. It reads very. It feels the same. It's nothing. Nothing like it. It's totally a different universe and different things going on. But the feel of the author, if you really liked William S. Frisbee there, you're going to love him here. This is the second book. Things are heating up in the universe. There is a darkness spreading. It's the book is very aptly named. There are aliens coming from the darkness, and the main character is going to have to deal with them. He's been given a few extra toys to get it done, but even the people that are adept at looking forward into the future have no idea if he's going to be able to pull this off. And all of his best advisors all of a sudden disappear, and he's going to have to figure it out on his own. So, I love this book. I can't wait to get into the third book, which is New Empires, which releases in January 24th. So readers aren't going to have to wait long to finish up the series. It's I think 5 or 6 weeks after that, and you'll be right into it, and come along for the ride, because this one is action the whole time.
Well, that's the thing about Bill Frisbee. If you want action and an almost movie-like experience, he's one of our authors that gives you absolute action and adventure from page 1 to the very last page. So I can't wait for this book to be published. Then the next book will be out on December 20, and if it's not like our publisher doesn't have enough to do and he doesn't work 28-hour days, this series is a new series by Chris Kennedy, and it's called Symbiote Wars. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. And for the folks that didn't catch it, December 13th is an open week. I'm actually taking a week and going on vacation with my wife. So it's something we haven't done very often. We're going somewhere that doesn't involve books. We're actually going to Antigua for a week at a sandals resort. So we're looking forward to that.
I didn't know you knew what the word vacation meant.
I do. And it's one of those things. I didn't want to have a launch while I was gone that, I couldn't support. So that weekend is open. And then moving into December 20th, we've got Symbiote Wars, like you said. Symbiote Wars was previously released with Variant Publishing. J.N. Chaney for the people that are familiar, but the book itself was written 100% by me. The covers didn't really suit the fact that it was science fiction, so I asked for and got the rights back to it, and I am re-releasing it with sci-fi covers on it. For those that get the newsletter, they should already have the prequel to the series. If you haven't gotten it and you'd like to get the prequel, it's free, totally free. It's at chriskennedypublishing.com/symbiote. And that's SYMBIOTE. So you can get that totally free, see what the universe is all about. And roll right into Symbiote Wars, which is the first book of Symbiote Wars, on December 20th. Basically, symbiote, if you look up the definition, didn't know what a symbiote was, it's sort of like a parasite that, kind of latches onto you. But a symbiote is something that, both parties gain from. Both of them get better because of the other. And we find some symbiotes that make us better right about the time that aliens show up to destroy us. So we're going to have to be not only better, we're going to have to be best. And it'll take a lot of fighting to get them off of us.
Yeah, somebody who's getting more and more popularity right now for his Dune series wrote a really good novel 50 plus years ago concerning symbiotes. So I can't wait to read this one.
And if, you may have seen the cover to the prequel, what it looks like is a UFO crashes somewhere near, Roswell, New Mexico.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of where that starts, and we're off and running.
Imagine Roswell. For those of you who listen to the first half of the podcast every month and then don't pay any attention to the second half, if you'll hang on with us after we get through introducing next month's book, we're going to talk a little bit further about Symbiote War and a little bit more with Chris about this novel and what's going on next year. So, don't listen to just the first half and file it away. We're going to finish up the month of December and the year of 2024 with the second book in H.Y. Gregor's book in the Milesian Accord universe, which we were introduced to by John Osborne several years ago and is one of my favorite series. It's called Chernobog's Wrath. And she has taken his universe where he introduced us to a lot of gods and mythical creatures that were interacting and fighting our druid. And she has moved it to a Russian fantasy background with Russian gods and mythological deities. And this book is quickly becoming one of my favorite fantasy books from CKP Publishing, and I think this would be a great book for readers to go ahead and get the first and the second book and start here, because you don't have to have a great deal of backstory to get started with this book. And Chris is going to tell us a little bit more about book 2.
Actually, I'm going to tell them about book 3, because book 2 will be on the streets when they get this. So Chernobog's Wrath, like you said, Slavic gods, they've already dealt with, people like Baba Yaga and Tugar Zame, but now the god Chernobog is endangering the whole world. Nikki and Ryan, the two main characters, are going to have to continue to grow in their as characters and in their power if they're going to deal with Chernobog. So the one main question that everybody has is, how do you kill a god? And that's something that they're going to have to try and figure out. But you're absolutely right. Haley Gregor, H.Y. Gregor, is definitely an up and comer. She writes great science fiction, great fantasy, and you're going to want to grab hold of this series so that you can say, I remember when. She had one book that came out before this, but this is her first main series. So climb aboard at the beginning, and that way you can say, I knew her when.
Well, I'm looking really forward to this third book in the Vechnoi saga. So that will complete the month of December, and it's been a really good year. How many books did we get out this year?
Let's see. 60 and low 60s, I think. I think it's going to be around 63.
Wow.
So a few less than last year, but I think they're all quality books and certainly well worth reading.
Yeah, the year 2024 was really cool for CKP. We had epic science fiction. We had our standard military sci-fi. We had some good fantasy that came out. It was an outstanding year. We had some great covers. What's going on in the salvage title universe is completely changing the way we look at that particular series. So it's been a great year.
Absolutely. And I think, looking forward, you're going to get more of the same if you're a reader. Fred's story Fred Hughes is going to continue his Heroes series. And then he and I will probably get together middle of the year and do something together. I'm hoping that The Last Marines will pick up, sometime around middle of the year with the next 4 books. Personally, I have not only Symbiote Wars, that'll be at least 5 books, but then I have Kingdom Lost that'll be starting in January. We'll also, as the year goes on, we will be driving toward the main storyline with the Four Horsemen universe. The first book in the last series should be out, I believe, in May, which actually will be mine. So hopefully I can find some time to write it. But then that series is Exodus, and that will take us to the end of the main storyline of the 4HU. There'll still be additional books, stories, and things after that, but that will complete the main storyline that started with Cartwright's Cavaliers. In addition, the salvage title will continue. I'm hoping to tie up Fallen World by the end of 2025. So lots of things going on. There's a number of new series coming. Have one by Michael LaVoice that I know people are just going to love. Another by Don Chapman. So already scheduled some new stuff, as well as the series that everybody loves. So it's going to be a great year in 2025. Hopefully now that things have calmed down a bit, we can go back to reading and having fun with that.
I agree with you 1,000%. Is there anything else that you want to say, or would you like to read a little segment of Symbiote Wars or the?
Well, let's hold that to the other section, and we'll do it then.
In that case, I guess we'll be tying up the first half of the podcast. It's been a real pleasure working with you this year, and I can't wait to see what's coming out in the year of 2025. It's fun to watch CKP grow, and I hope that things go outstandandingly in the next year. And Chris, thank you so much for taking time out every month to do this. It's a real pleasure and joy for me, and I hope we have another successful year next year doing this.
Hey, I'm really looking forward to it. I'd like to thank all of the readers for their great support this year. Definitely like to thank you as well for helping to drive the bus and get the word out on what we have every month. Couldn't do it without you. Couldn't do it without the readers. And I love you all and thank you very much for your support.
And we look forward to all of you coming back next year. And thanks, guys. And we are back. And Chris is going to talk to us about his new series and where he expects it to go, how many books he's looking forward to doing, and anything else that he wants to do to promote this book, I'm really looking forward to it. Chris, thanks for hanging over and talking to us about Symbiote Wars.
Oh, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to republishing this series. Like I said, it was out for a short while. It had the wrong covers on it, so it really didn't do as well as I hoped. And I know I've had a lot of people that told me, yeah, I looked at that, but that didn't look like something I'd like. So, there's a lot of folks that I know passed on this. Hopefully with some better covers, we'll get them to give it a try. Certainly I love it. I think that, some of these books are some of the best I've written. And I really want to share them with everybody. The series right now has 5 books. When I originally designed the series, it was going to go 9. If readers like it, it'll go to at least 9. If readers want more at that point, it'll go further. I've toyed with, taking it out to 18. But it'll just be a matter of, what do the readers want? In addition to this, I'll have a second series that's starting in January called Kingdom Lost. That'll be at least 3, maybe 5, and it'll be a matter of, do readers want, one, the other, or both? And whatever they want, that's what they'll get. And either or both series can go, as far as readers want to support it.
So can you tell us a little bit about the first book and what the plot is? We know it's a symbiote. We know Roswell, New Mexico. Does our main character just kind of come upon the symbiote, or how does the book start?
Well, hey, if you're going to ask that, why don't I just read from the start of chapter 1?
That would be great.
Okay, here we go. Chapter 1. James Sutton awoke to his mom's screams, and he rushed to his sister's bedroom. "What's going on, Mom?" he asked, as she continued shrieking at an empty bed. "Your sister," she sobbed. "She's gone." "Well, maybe she went to the store or something." "The car," his mom hiccuped, "is still here. She's just gone." Sutton raced through the house, calling Holly's name, but his younger sister wasn't to be found. "Do you know who she was dating?" his mom asked when he returned to his sister's bedroom. She continued to stare at the empty bed, but appeared to be a little calmer. You think she snuck out with Joe?" Sutton asked. "Not a chance. He's 15 and doesn't have a car." Well, maybe he used one of their tractors." Sutton snorted. "Those old things? He would have had to park it miles away, or we'd have heard it." "Well, where could she have gone then?" his mom screeched. "I don't know." Sutton shrugged, "but I'll go to Larned and talk to the sheriff," he said after a moment. Larned was only 6 miles away from the house in Pawnee Rock, Kansas. That was about half the distance to the one in Great Bend that nominally patrolled the town. It's faster, and he's got a good reputation for solving cases. Sutton grabbed the keys and went out back to the car. He checked the hood. If it had been driven, it was a long time ago, as the engine was cold. He started to get into the car, but he paused at the door, looking at the lawn. It had rained the night before, and a ring about 10 yards in diameter had been pressed into the grass. His brows knitting, he left the door open and walked over to look. Something had definitely been sitting there, something heavy. But what would have left a 10-yard diameter ring? Sutton shook his head. He had no idea. He turned to go back to the car, but stopped, and his jaw dropped. One set of footprints ran from the kitchen doorway straight toward the ring, but stopped 3 yards short of it. He got down and looked at the bent grass. The human footprints weren't alone. Something small, like a cat or raccoon, had walked alongside the person. The family didn't have pets, though. Holly was allergic. Sutton didn't have a lot of experience tracking game, but he was good enough to make some guesses as he followed the tracks back to the kitchen. There was only one good print in the mud of the bare spot in the lawn, but it confirmed the person was walking barefoot, had a small foot, and was walking away from the kitchen. Holly, along with a cat we don't own. She'd come out of the kitchen with the cat, walked toward whatever had sat there, and then had jumped into it and gone where? There were no marks of it moving. It looked to have just taken off or something. Shaking his head again, he turned back to the car, but then froze. A second set of cat prints went from the ring to his sister's window. So, a cat flew in on something that landed in the yard, got out, and went to talk with Holly. She let him in and exited the kitchen door with him. Then they went back to the cats thing and disappeared. Is something wrong? Sutton's mom called from the kitchen window. What are you doing? I thought you were going to Larned to talk to the sheriff. I am, Mom, Sutton said. Deciding she probably couldn't handle any more questions than she already had, Sutton got into the car and drove off.
Wow, that is really good. I can't wait to read the book now. That's a great start. And, of course, everybody who reads science fiction loves anything that resembles a cat. So,
absolutely.
Whatever you do, don't kill it. Yeah, that's the certain doom of any TV show or book is when you kill the pet.
Yep.
Which in this case probably isn't a pet.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost, it's worse to kill the animal than it is the person half the time.
I agree 1,000%. It seems that way. Well, Chris, this is great. I cannot wait to start that new series, and it sounds like we have a ton of stuff to look forward to in 2025. So in about 3 weeks, we'll do this again, and hopefully we'll get to start talking about what 2025 looks like and get to see some of the new stories that we have on hand.
Absolutely. I'll be looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you in January.
All right. Take care, everyone.
You've been listening to the CKP Future Books podcast with host Randall Willis. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider leaving it a review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you subscribe. Show likes and channel subscriptions are also much appreciated on the CKP YouTube channel. Finally, if you'd like to know more about this author or others on the CKP roster, visit chriskennedypublishing.com. Thanks for listening to the CKP Future Books podcast. We'll see you next time.